Hey everyone, JP here. Welcome to the podcast today. A little bit unusual today, but I'll tell you why. I'm welcoming the Executive Director of FitPro UK, Teresa Wheatley today. Welcome, Teresa.
Oh, JP, it's a pleasure to be interviewed by you today. Thank you.
And we thought it'd be kind of a quirky thing because actually this is the FitPro podcast, and I'm interviewing the executive director of FitPro, the I should say new executive director, because what a lot of people may not realize, and we should just clear first of all, is that you're now the boss at FitPro after many years of under other ownership. So welcome in that role. How does that feel, by the way?
Oh, JP, it's incredibly exciting. What an honor. I mean, I've been part of FitPro as a member of staff, but I was a trainer for a long time and I was an attendee. So I know the legacy that's been beautifully created by Brent and Jane. So, and they're dear friends. And yeah, for them to give me the opportunity, my gosh, to take the reins it's just, yeah, an honor. Super excited. I'm sure we're going to get into some of the visions that I've got and where I want to take FitPro. It's already achieved amazing things, but ultimately, always FitPro has been about servicing the industry and the members, and we do that really well. So yeah, let's dig into it. But I think the overriding, I don't know why I'm doing a chicken dance, but the overriding thing for me is just pure joy and excitement about it. Yeah.
That's amazing. And I mean, it was a surprise to me. So I didn't know the timeline on that or anything. So I've got to know you over the last few years, and it was a surprise to me when it happened. But it really was. It gave me such a lift in the heart, shall I say? When I'm like, oh, that's really awesome. But I had no idea it was about to happen or anything like that. I mean, so. Yeah, it's at least our friendship's based on a sense of humor and shared vision, rather than me going, "Oh, I'm going to be mates with the boss,"
Yes, yeah. And in fact, JP, you and I spoke, well, I mean, we speak regularly anyway, and it was under wraps for a long time what we were pulling together and the changes. And it was hard not telling you because I knew you'd be excited and know it was a great direction. So yeah, it's just a delight to be able to talk about it now. Yay.
And we've got this quirky situation, like I say, of interviewing you on the FitPro podcast. I was going to call it a con past there for some reason. I don't know quite why. And I think the reason that I'm doing that is because you also know that I'm going to ask you about you as well, because I think it's really important if people are, understanding a change has happened at FitPro, that they know who that person is. So the first question needs to be around your history, industry history, but your life history, really. Like, how do we find you, executive director of FitPro now? Like, how does that go back? And when did you join the industry, and what were you doing, and those kind of what roles have you had along the way?
Yeah, I'll keep it brief because it's been quite long, right? So it's been nearly 35 years. I 19 got into the industry. I knew it was for me. And I think very early on, FitPro was part of that story. I, even at 19, I recognized I was actually genuinely good at the job. I know actually, interestingly, a lot of people, we talk about imposter syndrome and nowadays, but I felt relevant at 19. I felt I did a great job. And I really feel wherever I've gone in the industry, I've really, my attention to detail and professionalism while staying true to myself, they're really key components, I think, to success in our industry. So from entering the industry at 19, really, I mean, let's be honest, I started in group exercise. It was still, gathering speed and how it being shaped. But I did that for a long time, became personal trainer, then got into the education side of things because again, I'd done enough, I'd got enough experience. I was applying myself in a really good way, but education was difficult for me as a kid. I felt a level of disconnect. I was intelligent and I was good academically, but I felt a level of disconnect. I went to a school that didn't really embrace me as an individual. I was excitable, I was playful, but I was really good. And so I think there was a part of me that led to want to educate people, you know, to really connect with them on a deeper level. And I knew how genuinely the joy I got out of doing the job. So if I could help other people get into it, I then mentored, I, you know, had businesses. And then what happened across, I actually felt I wasn't spreading myself thin, but I was doing so many different roles, JP. I was, you know, doing social media here. I was writing over here. I was doing presenting over here. I was rocking up for my classes. And I just had these amazing level of skills, and I still felt I was doing them at a great sort of rate, and I was proud of what I was doing. And then other opportunities were offered to me, and there was a moment I couldn't, it's not just a moment, there was times I was thinking, I'm doing this for something. I can't be doing all of this. And I didn't know what it was. Anyway, COVID came along and an opportunity came in with FitPro, where I was going to work part-time looking after education, because I've been in education, quality assurance, and for a long, long time. And got into that. And then an opportunity came up to look after marketing as well, as a full-time role. So I was head of marketing and head of education. And what this brought together was a true, true love, a true, true understanding of FitPro, because I'd been a trainer for them, I'd created education for them. But now all these skills that I had absolutely, I think, smashed, you know, but in lots of different places, I could now put in one role. So that grew and grew. And you, as you know, Jane and Brent, these guys have got just an amazing, amazing skill, I think, of finding great people that work well in a team who've got great skills. So if you look at FitPro, you know they're good people, right? And the level of trust they gave me, autonomy, it was, my God, I really flourished in that. And so I ended up effectively proving myself to them, and this is how this opportunity came up. So what we've got is, you know, I started at 19 doing a great job, and what I've done is made sure that I've really applied myself really well throughout, and it just kind of came my way. And you know, but I've really, I was going to say cut my teeth, that's not the expression. Whatever the expression is, I have really worked very hard, genuinely, you know, whether it's rocking up to a session where there's, you know, just 6 people on a cold morning at 7 o'clock in the morning, or I'm a PT client, or I've jetted over here, whatever. I've been writing. I really, really have applied myself. So, you know, it's one of those roles where, yes, I'm excited, honored, and all those things, but I also really believe I deserve it. And that's why I know I do a great job.
So that's a really cool history. And the thing that really stands out for me that is worthy of a bit more attention is that you said at 19, you had this understanding, almost innate knowledge that you were good. That's number one. Number two, that throughout and right now, you are able to confidently say that you're good at something and not worry that, I think a lot of people worry that somehow confidence can come across as arrogance, and it clearly comes across as confidence in you.
Mm-hmm.
How have you got comfortable with what a lot of people are uncomfortable about, i.e., recognizing that they're good at something, admitting it to themselves, first of all, which seems to be really difficult for a lot of people. You've managed to admit it to yourself and then speak confidently to others, like you are right now. You're saying, I'm good at what I do, and I worked really hard at what I'm really good at doing in order to create an opportunity for myself that I am now living out in my life. So where do you think it comes from? How did it evolve?
Yeah. First of all, great question. I think this comes from the passion of wanting to help others. So it's less about myself and the care I have extended to others. So, you know, whether it is a group of people in a group exercise class, it's students, it's whatever, it's our members, it's a, you know, a global team, whatever. I really do feel it's easy to say you're good at something if you're in the service of helping others. It's less about, oh, it's me, you know, I do a great job because, you know, I stand up on stage and shine. I think it's easier to say you do well at something. And obviously I'm talking in hindsight here, aren't I, JP? That, you know, I was confident I was doing a good job at 19. I'm not saying I wasn't full of anxiety and da 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 and all other things. But what I did was I prepped. I had been taught really, really well. I was passionate. I stayed connected to people who were really good. I stayed educated. I stayed on the ball. I admitted, you know, I made sure I was in my own lane. I turned down things, which actually at a young age, most people will be like, why aren't you taking that opportunity? And it's because I didn't, even though those opportunities were amazing, I just didn't feel I had almost the, not credentials, but I didn't feel that I could authentically step into it. This was just about opportunity. This isn't now I'm going to do it great. And I think it's really important when, you know, from a leadership point of view, that people really genuinely feel reassured that somebody is confident in the job and they're confident about what the vision is, because it was essential. You know, it's so lovely question. I think if I was going to sort of impart that on others, it's, you know, if you apply yourself well, you know, you have to, you know, recognize that that is paying off. And I've seen opportunities come up. I've had the feedback. I've worked on the feedback. I've been curious. I think so long as I've got a curious mind where I'm not trying to stay static and go, I've done it. You know me, I'm still working on things, right?
Mm.
So I can be confident where I am, but is there still room for growth? Absolutely. And that's, you know, I think that's where confidence comes from the fact it's never about being static.
The reason I'm playing around with this, and
Yeah.
thanks for that answer as well, and I still want to go
Yeah,
give you another
please.
little prod about it. The reason I'm prodding you is because I know there's going to be heaps of people listening that still are working on that now. Like you say, we're all at different stages of growth and we're always working on something. But for that to be the underlying thing, you've
Mhm.
said, okay, then I think where it came from for me is because I'm in service of others. It's not about me. I just wanted to do a really good job for others.
Mm,
So, but there's still got to be another element, like just to go, because you can turn up and still be anxious and lack self-confidence, even though your focus is this is for others. That lack of self-confidence could go, God, this is for others, and I'm not good enough for
right.
the others, right? So that it's not enough. I
No.
feel like that's not enough. So there's got to be what else. For me, what comes across from you is authenticity. Like, and you seem to just tap into that and just go, how does that feel authentically? Me? No, I won't do that. Yes, I really want to chase that. And it almost feels like that's the other part. But I don't know. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I don't think it's
Mhm.
because I'm in service of others gives you self-confidence, for example. So that's why I'm giving you another prod on that one.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And I think one of the things that I know I've done is I've really applied myself with skills that I again I was taught really, really well. Shout out to Debbie Lawrence, she was amazing. I was taught incredibly well. I was taught by somebody who role modeled an exceptional level. So I could see that was attainable and that it was
Mm,
necessary. And I was not going to go, well, I've done it now. I was always pursuing being better. And so that was practicing in my kitchen. That was getting a step out and, you know, that was putting a towel out because I hadn't got a step. And it was, you know, it was taking the time to do it so that I felt when I went in, I was polished, I was prepared, I had a contingency plan, I was thinking about who was in the room, you know, I wanted to make the experience about them. So that's one of the things. It came down to practice skills and a lot of experience. But I also think that one of the things where now authenticity, I think, runs very, sort of runs through my veins as a youngster. Obviously makes me sound old because I'm calling myself a youngster at that stage. As a youngster, I had felt different to others. I didn't feel at times that I was taken seriously. Now I found a job where I could be taken seriously. So school, I was enthusiastic, playful, but some people thought it was naughty. I don't like that term. I worked with kids and it might be that they were excitable or whatever, but I was told off a lot because I did the work, but I was never applied. So I could do the work and chat. And so I, as a kid, had felt different. I'd felt I didn't want to necessarily take the academic route. I had felt, my own personal experiences in life was I was in struggle. And so making it about other people was really important to me. So, as you know, connection is the absolute winner for me. So here I was in struggle myself, and I've done the work now. So it's easy to talk about. I was in struggle. So here I am finding connection with others. Connection really, really sort of built my confidence. I was like, oh, here's where I meet my people. I hadn't really met my people at school. I hadn't necessarily really connected with my family all the time. So here I am now creating connections. This was transformative to me. I found my people, I found my place, I found my calling, I found my passion. And I thought, wow, I could do this for a million years. So I think, you know, we can talk about the skills, we can talk, but what it really was I found my place, if you know what I mean.
I think that tribe thing is massive, because, so let me just recap before I get into that bit. So you've gone, all right, then being in service of others, hard work, lots of preparation, getting experience and learning from experience, then connection and finding your people. So that makes sense as the basis of finding confidence, doesn't it, when you think about it? And then you go, okay, then, but that tribe thing is huge. So I know in my own community, when I've done mentorships and things like that, I mean, one of the things I say to people is it's almost like that scene in Bohemian Rhapsody where the manager comes to the pub for the first time to meet them, and he's like, what's so special about you? And he goes, you look out into the crowd, and there they are, the misfits and the odd ones out, and the people that feel like they're alone in the world. They're our people. We are them and they are us, and that's what's special about us. And I feel like that's sometimes what it's like creating a community is everyone feels alone. There's a heap of people out there who are self-employed, individual, solo, and they all feel a bit different. They all feel a bit special in their own way, and then somehow they find this place where they are completely accepted.
Yes.
And that is huge, because once they feel in that place, there is nothing that they can't do once you get them into that place. And it sounds like you really found that place quite early.
I was really lucky to find it. I was desperate to find it. And yeah, it was, like I say, connection, and I had felt like sometimes the odd one out as a kid. And I recognized all the people that were in my classes that perhaps also had felt like that. And for that hour, we could connect. And it wasn't about like, so then when I started with about being in the service of others, I really felt that I was a catalyst for some really amazing stuff for people in their lives. And that might sound a bit grand, but anybody who's a fitness professional knows the people that come up to them and say, oh my God, that's been an absolute winner for my day. I have to come every week. It's changed my life. I mean, you don't do it for that, but those sort of things sort of help feed that confidence that you're making a difference. Fitness
So
professionals
cool.
really truly do.
And
Yeah.
you, like you say, it feeds your confidence, but also you used a really important word that I think shows humility in you as well is you use the word catalyst. And this is a thing about like, from a experimental point of view, a catalyst is something that comes in, doesn't become part of what happens, the end result, but it speeds up or energizes a reaction, right? And you use that word catalyst, and that is our role, right? Is being a catalyst, not saying for people to come up to say, you changed my life, and us going, yep, I absolutely did, right? No, we were a catalyst for them to change their lives. And I think that's a really important kind of message almost for the industry. And I love that you use the word catalyst there.
Yeah, I think it's you know, people have life-changing moments all the time, and people have literally changed my life in a moment. Over time, connection, and it is a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing, isn't it, when that happens? And if we as fitness professionals are able to even assist very slightly to make it a better hour for someone, a better day, a better week, year, life, wow, my God, what an absolute honor. But it's yeah, I love the word catalyst because it's yeah, I love that. Yeah.
So we find you in this kind of a role with a lot of responsibility. But one of the things that kind of we bonded over when we first kind of met and then got to know each other a little bit, given that I'm in Australia and you're in the UK, what we bonded over was a sense of humor. So how do you manage this thing? Because it's been not a battle, but certainly something that I've had to manage across my own lengthy career, is that there seems to be a thing. I talked to Dr. Perry Nicholson about this recently as well. There seems to be this thing where you can't have, a responsible role with any form of authority, but be a joker as well. And I refute that. In fact, I think we should be more lighthearted and involve humor in this kind of serious life that we lead, and be more playful. Now, you've managed to do that and become executive director of FitPro. So how has that affected you? Have you been taken seriously, or less seriously as a result of it? For example, how have you offset your humor with people realizing that you're actually really good at your job as well? Like, how does that all balance out for you? Because I know you definitely are. You have a great sense of humor, and in a lot of ways a silly sense of humor. So how do you get that balanced with, I'm the executive director of FitPro?
No one talks like that, but I love this question. And yes, you and I connected over, well, first of all, you're an amazing educator, and I know uh, what you do is exceptional. But you are also funny, and you are also my friend, and I love you dearly for that, right? And our friendship has grown over the miles, and we chat, don't we? Like regularly. We're always on WhatsApp sharing silly jokes and stuff, and and I absolutely adore that. I'm so grateful for that. And I think it's really, there have been moments where it's felt like I've not been taken seriously. Yes, because of that. And then there's moments where, and it's a really odd thing, there's been moments where I've been just me, and then I've got up to teach, and then the feedback was, I wasn't expecting that. And in a way, it's a compliment, but in a way, it's not, and it's a really weird thing because you don't have to be serious. You don't have to be boring, monotone, and one of the things as a female, as well, is what I don't want to do is pretend to be something that I'm not in order to be taken seriously. It's important. I can prove myself in so many ways. And that's what I love about Brent and Jane. They I've been given this role for a reason, because they trust me. Their legacy they've created is significant to them. I wouldn't have been given the opportunity if they didn't think I could do it, right? So, but yeah, it's really hard at times when you don't get taken seriously. And what I've tried to do is stick to my lane, not spread myself thin, not try. I mean, in life, I've been a bit of a yes person in the past, of course, worked on that, and be a bit of a people pleaser. So
Mm,
I learned those skills. I learned them over the years that, learning to say no, learning this. So, but it is really hard at times. And I even see it in the industry now when new people come in, and the, experienced older people don't take them seriously. And I'm like, hang on, at 19, I was doing a damn good job. And these are the people I want to look after everybody across the whole of the industry. Everybody should be taken seriously. But you can
mm,
be playful, you can have a lot of joy. And I think one of the things that, happened was because I worked in group exercise. You can be playful and stuff, but I could also be serious. I could connect. Now, JP, you might turn up to my session and normally you're playful, but another day you may not be. One of the skills we learn as fitness professionals is we adapt. We
mm,
don't push ourselves onto people. We meet people where they're at. And I think that's a genuine skill. So if I'm in a, if, I mean, I did some end of life volunteering. Like I brought, I think, joy into difficult situations, but it wasn't like I was going, "Ugh, nothing to worry about here." I brought a positive sort of light into some of the darkest times of people's lives. And I actually think that was a really valuable thing. So you can, so I feel that I'm adaptable, but I will never not be authentic. So
mm.
if you and I need to have a serious chat because, your humor's gone down the pan and I need to talk to you about bringing it back up to the standard I expect, I can have a serious conversation with you, but I can
Mm,
still be human, I can still connect, I can still be
mm,
caring. So I think one of the things I'd say to fitness professionals is don't take it so seriously, but be professional.
mm,
It's yeah, and do you know what? When you work as hard as I have, you cannot keep a mask on. You
mm.
can't pretend to be anybody else. It's exhausting. Um, so has that slightly answered your question? Or are you going
You
to ask
slightly
a
answered my question, but
probing?
I agree. Not being yourself is exhausting. I was once told I might need to temper my sense of humor because I got told at a big conference over this, like, the big one here, it was like 2,000 delegates and stuff. And someone came up to me and said, "Oh, you're the funniest guy at this conference." And I took it in the spirit that it was meant. It was a compliment. And I said, "Oh, I hope you learned some stuff as well, though, right?" And he's like, "Oh, yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely." And one of my mentors at the time said, "You don't want to be known as just some kind of joker. You want to." So I tried to tone it down for about a year, and I ended up, really miserable. Like, you're right, because when you're putting so much energy into the good stuff, you can't then find the energy to somehow, dull yourself down or be something, that it's a lot of effort to be
Yes.
something that you're not. So
Oh,
again, everyone out there, please, please don't try too hard being something you're not.
exactly. And this is the thing. If you are somebody who is serious and you are, you know, I was going to say steady, you're
Yeah.
predictable.
Leverage it.
Yes. Oh my God. People love that. And I love that. I love being
Yeah.
around that. I don't just need to be around playful, excitable people. Some of, I think of Darren, who worked for FitPro for a long time, very calm, beautiful personality. So many people will know him listening to this webcast. I had playful moments with him and jokes with him, but he's also somebody that I knew I could turn to. There are other people in my life that are just, yeah, they're the calm, just beautiful people. And I don't think I'm erratic. I'm playful, I'm excitable. I hope I'm predictable in the fact that you probably know if you send me a message, you probably know how I'll react. If you sent me out an SOS, I'd be there for you. I mean, I mean flying to Australia, you'd have to pay. But you know what I mean? Yes, you leverage what you're good at. Absolutely. Um, yeah, such an interesting topic, isn't it? Like
It
being
is.
Like if I could do this webcast, you know, talking as what everybody thinks, you know, someone heading up a, you know, an amazing organization should be, and people are going to switch off. Like, what good is that for anybody? I really believe it's, you know, I learn, I think, through tutoring day in, day out for, you know, for the whole day. If it was monotone, like people want to listen to excitable people about subjects. I mean, they were the best teachers for me. So I think, you know, you don't want to be like that all the time. Like if you're 100 miles an hour, that'll drive people crazy. You also need to adapt to people, be
Mm.
sensitive to things. And I think that's a true skill, you know. But if it's me talking to you, we're both playful, joyful people. So we're probably going to have a bit of a laugh from time to time.
Absolutely. And I think it would be disappointing if that weren't the case. So then it's again, it's just like, why isn't that person being themselves? Why aren't you being yourself? Why aren't you showing me this silly humor? You know, that would be the thing. So
Yeah.
let's talk FitPro and you as well. I mean, FitPro is quite precious to me in the sense that, you know, I'd been qualified in the industry maybe 18 months. I'm just trying to think, about 18 months. And back in the day when the FitPro conference was running out of Loughborough University, and there'd be thousands of delegates at that one. That was the biggest thing in Europe, pretty much, maybe the world at that point in time. And I just was reading about this conference, and I thought it looks really good. I'm going to go, and I ended up I had one of my clients at the time, I'm still friends with now, go, I really think you should go. I'm going to pay for you to go to that. So out of the generosity of one of my clients, I was able to go to this conference at Loughborough, and then my mind just went, oh my God, it just exploded. And FitPro, it was the FitPro conference in Loughborough, and it brought people from all over the world, and then all over the country, in our case, all over Europe, to kind of listen to these amazing people. And I've got, you know, I'm that's the first time for example, we've spoken to Bobby Capuccio on this podcast. The first time I saw him was at the FitPro conference in 2007. You know, so that put this kind of drop of just absolute, I was going to say gold, but it was magic in my mind that said there's more to this job than 30 sessions a week, right? Suddenly I saw there was so much more. I became a different trainer. The next day I started training people differently. Everything changed the way I went about things, and possibilities, expansion, growth, all of that
Right.
stuff was going on. So, you know, I'm now talking to you on, you know, as the interviewer on the FitPro podcast, which is, you know, hilarious and awesome all at the same time. So it's precious to you, been an important part of your life for a long time, been an important part of my life for a long time.
Mm.
Now you're steering the ship. So you've got that responsibility, but it's got to keep growing and evolving and getting
Mm.
better for the rest of us. You know, we owe that to the world, right? So,
Absolutely.
so where are you with that?
Yeah.
And where do you immediately, like in the immediate, where do you see yourself going? And in the long term, you know, what are your dreams and hopes for it?
Yeah. I think one of the things when I hear you talk about FitPro conventions and those sort of things, the one word that I was thinking was possibility, and you said it. So that's
Mm.
what, yeah. So possibility is, you know, what FitPro has created over years. And so with regards to vision and where FitPro is going, you want to stay on the same track. FitPro has created a lot of things, and you know, there's been things that have come in and gone away, and what they've done is adapted so well to the industry as an industry
Mm.
leader, so as an authority. So for me, one of the things I've already brought about is, and Brent and Jane were so encouraging about this, was bringing back FitPro Live. So in June, 18th and 19th of June, we've got that again. So it's not harping back to those days, because those days was, you know, they've been in the past. So this is a reimagining. So what does FitPro do so beautifully well? Education, connection, networking. So we're creating 2 days. The timetable is immense. The sessions, the people, and the possibilities that people will get from that. Even if you're as seasoned as you and I, you will get something out of that. So from my point of view, it's steering the sheep, the sheep. It's not sheep, but
You are shepherding.
yeah, thank you. Thanks. Leave my little, is it a crook? It's a crook, isn't it? A shepherd?
It is, yeah.
It is.
Keep going, Bo Peep.
Thank you. So, for me, the vision is to continue the legacy, right? Why change something that works so well and services so many people? Can we bring in more things? Can there be more impact? Yes. So obviously, FitPro Live, more live educations, we're going to be giving more to members. The insurance side of things as well, there's going to be more products that have been released. So we're just sort of expanding out that way, and I want to push forward. So what that means as well for me personally, impact's really important. You and I have spoken about this, about how can we affect more people. So I think what's happened with I know with FitPro how many partnerships there are. Collaboration is really important for me. It's not about being in competition. It's about truly servicing fitness professionals who do feel alone, who do need connection, who do need some leading, some possibilities, some, signposting, whatever it is. But for me, a lot of it is going to be about impact. So you and I have spoken about a more charitable side. Now, what that might mean is helping with some education so that has a rippling effect to people that perhaps cannot connect with education and stuff. So it's a really, a wonderful opportunity to sort of keep leading and taking the ship forwards. Yeah.
So you've gone immediately, we need to re-establish the connection with what went well in the past. And we've gone through the COVID era, which kind of upset a lot of things. And we've seen that now I know that you've experienced the same there as we have here in Australia, which is, it's like you can only get half as many people in a room as you used to be able to, because people are like, well, I can just do that online. But only half as many are online now as 4 years ago. Because so it's like, well, hang on, we can get it. Whereas now is the time to like you say, reimagine that live experience, because the old model was, it's almost like there's this aberration that's happened, through which we call it a lens, through which when you look back, that's a different thing now. That whole kind of conference convention kind of model, it does need an update. You're right. It needs to be evolved and made for now and for the culture that we're in. So yeah, we're all excited about that whole idea of a FitPro Live event. And then something's got to be similar, but I guess the vibe around it is going to be different in some way, right? So how does it, I guess the only way I could really ask you is, how does that feel? What is the vibe around that compared to when you think about the previous model? I was going to call it the old school model, but it's still being used all over the world, right? But compared to those two, how does it feel different now? Because it is very different.
It
Like
is.
now, my first one in 2007.
Yeah. So I think one of the things that's, I guess, convenient for us is there's been enough time since the last one. So it's not like we're changing things from one year to the other. So there's been enough time, and so many people have been asking for us to create this again. Also, it's not just the people attending, it's all the presenters and the educators. And as you know, I've just been absolutely overwhelmed with, as soon as I put the feelers out, everyone was like, I'll be there, I'll be there, I'll be there. And, I think the reimagining is really important. What's, in the Loughborough days, and it was so many things going off at once. what we're going to do is we're going to have sessions where there's education and practical perhaps linked together. So it's not just let's just say you're just going through a sort of a class after a class after a class after a class. Of course, there's going to be theory sessions as well. But if you're in a practical space, for me, it's very important that you have there's an educational feel as well. So whether that's a 5-minute discussion beforehand and a 5-minute discussion afterwards, and the presenter explains how they pulled this together, so that not only did you have that amazing experience that will change you, like you said it did for you, but you will be able to take those skills with you and enhance what you're offering. So whether you're group exercise, your hybrid, your PT, you're working in whatever, there's going to be something for you, but it has to make an impactful change, not just on the day. I mean, isn't it lovely to rock up to, a day and just do something for yourself? But we know people's time is precious, and most people will just tune in online. So it's got to be different. So for me, the takeaways are going to be key. But one thing that people are missing is connection and community. We do it so well for others, but fitness professionals don't have that opportunity. And what we know is that education that we deliver so well ourselves has had to be impactful for us. So it's not a rinse and repeat. I want to empower people to know how they're going to be able to make it matter to Veronica, who comes in on a Friday morning, and Brenda and Bob and da, right? So I want to have something transformational, and the people who are delivering those educations will and can do that. I think what's very important is the people that are selected have had a long-standing career. Many of them have been part of FitPro, and they are still incredibly relevant in the industry now, or they're fairly new and they're so relevant, so these aren't sort of like transient kind of, oh, it's a new trend. These really are things that are going to make significant an impression on a true fitness professional who's curious. And I think we've created this landscape, having done it in the past, but also things like all the educations that we've created over the last few years. There's 96 educations. We do a webinar series every month. We have people turning up because they're curious, and we know they're desperate. They're sponges, not desperate. They're sponges. They are not sitting back and going, I've done it all, I know everything. They're still curious, and how wonderful. So I know there's the appetite for that. And, it's alongside the Elevate sort of exhibition that's already very established. So it's a collaboration. And so there's going to be something for everybody. You could bring a team, you could be on your own. I'm so excited about it, as you can probably hear.
And you get the connection thing, but I think it's the questions that you can ask along the way. Again, you can't do online. It's the getting to know people in the room. Again, you can't do online. It's the talking to people after the session or before the all these kind of little bits. The other thing, and I know, having been to events all over the world myself and delivered sessions, one of the coolest things that you can do as a presenter is go into other people's sessions, because you're not there. I used to be intimidated when people came into mine, because it's like, oh my God, so-and-so's in the room. What am I going to do? Right. But then I realized, oh no, actually, they're just doing what I'm doing, which is just seeing what else is out there. And that's the thing. If you aren't attending an event, like, yes, you can keep your finger on the pulse, as it were, by looking at what's going on. But if you actually want to know what's out there and who are the proponents of that and how it might affect people, and look at an effect in a room of what effect that's having, then you need to be at a live event. That for me is really important. So for me, I will both support people who I know and are friends, and I'll go, look, I'll come in, I'll give you a bit of a cheer, or a confidence booster, or whatever you might need. But also I'll go into sessions of people I've never heard of doing stuff that I've known very little about. And that's amazing. This is like, you can go, I can see the potential on this, or no, this isn't something that's necessarily going to fly, in my opinion, as it were.
Yes.
So there are so many benefits to that live experience. But I've worked hard to create online experiences that are really connecting. I
Yes.
haven't yet been able to get a shared laugh, a slap on the back, an elbow in the ribs, a really cool conversation after a session where you're just looking people in the eye, knowing that you're totally on that wavelength. Those conversations where you lose, like it's almost like you go into soft focus around that person because you're so involved in that conversation, because you share this incredible passion. All of the feels of that is, it's very difficult to recreate in an online experience.
Actually,
So that's
really.
why you turn up and you be in person. So if you only do, I feel like you should pick one or two things a year where you're like in the
That's what
room, for sure. Do you know what I mean? Rather than, I can just do that online. I can just watch it on recording, or yeah, you get the education. You absolutely get the education. So you get 50% of what's available. That's the way I look at it.
yeah. And as you're saying that, I couldn't agree more. But I think one of the things that I've really created, and in the process of creating, is choosing and hand picking. And I can't have everybody that I want, but hand picking the people that I know truly connect with others. So it's not just about them getting up on stage and showing their stuff. It is, I think that's really important, because then you've just got a showman or a good educator. I need
Mm,
people who are going to connect, that would be able to have a cup of tea with you afterwards and shoot the breeze. There was another word that I could
mm.
have said there. You know what I mean? And they're just, jolly, lovely humans to be around. They just happen to have also become a really great educator, presenter.
Mm.
I don't just think, there are some amazing presenters that just give a great show and it's lovely, but after it's done, you haven't necessarily had a feeling of like, oh, I've just had the most brilliant experience. It's maybe like, wow, they're really amazing at it. So everything for me is about experience, and yeah, getting in that room and connecting. And my God, it's about seeing someone you haven't seen for 10 years, 5 years, or whatever, and connecting. It's not just about, the attendee and the presenter. It will be all the attendees seeing one another and building up new, friendships. Wow.
Yeah. In what can be, as we've said many a time now, in what can be a lonely world in this type of job.
It really is. It really
Mm.
is. And I speak to so many people on the phone about it, and they've been asking for it for such a long time. And I just, I just want it would be so lovely, because we're putting everything together. Is People have been saying they want it. They've just now got to turn up, because for it to continue, of course, we have to have the people turning up. You can put on the most amazing educators and people can say that's what we want, but they got to be there for it to
Yeah.
work. So I'm sort of
Yeah.
inviting people to, we're gonna make it, so it's not extortionate, it's manageable. Yeah, it's going to be impactful.
Mm. Oh yeah, I mean, I don't think you'll have any problems filling that, like, because there are, as you say, there's those passionate, driven sponges out there. They just want to draw down on that, but also get that catalyst feeling, get that inspiration by going, I get that. I mean, I'm in the room with those people. That I listen to a lot of comedy, surprise, surprise, and I still go see comedy.
Yes.
So I could listen to certain comedians, and I've listened to hours and hours of their stuff online, TV, Netflix, all the thing. When they come to town, what do? Oh, I can get that online. I go see them, of course, because the real experience in that room, when you're with 2,000 other people, and
Magic.
there's this shared thing, all different types of people, just like at a live experience. and you have this shared thing, and that is a unique experience. And you have this thing in common with this group of people that maybe you've never met. And it's that one time. In the comedian's case, it's one night. In the FitPro Live case, it's 2 days. But you have
Yes.
shared an experience with a number of people that no one else has had. And it's like that. That's the thing about live in-person education. That's what I love about it as well, especially like when it comes to where you can connect with people. I do some mentorships as well. So you really get to know those people. Then they have this thing in common. They become a mini tribe within the larger tribe. This is really, really powerful. Anyway, we're probably banging on about the same thing a bit too much. So coming back to you and FitPro. So what are you excited about just as a person in your job, rather than as the executive director of FitPro? What are you excited about going, when you look ahead? What are you excited about as Teresa Wheatley for FitPro?
Wow. Opportunity. It's probably sounds so weird, but I've had so much autonomy in the role that I've had before, and so much trust. So it's not like, hey, I get to choose now. I mean, of course, I get to lead it. And Brent and Jane are very much there. So they're my, supporters, my sounding boards and stuff like that. So I don't feel like I've been unleashed into in a new world. I felt that was kind of already, it had been incremental, going on over the last few years anyway. But you know, I think from a personal point of view, I don't feel that I need to prove myself. It probably sounds weird. Um, I feel that I've already done that. Otherwise, I wouldn't have got this opportunity. But I have an opportunity to make some significant changes for people in our industry so that we are recognized as that authority, someone that they go, oh, who should I ask about FitPro? Where should I get that FitPro? We collaborate with loads of other people. So it's not just about getting people just into our lane. But for me, on a personal thing, it's down to my family and being able to say to my boys that I'm heading up an amazing company that do significant things. It's those things, that when you say for Teresa, what does it truly mean? It's the legacy that I can, I feel I owe the industry a lot. I think I found my calling. It kind of saved me in so many ways. It allowed me to grow. I've done so much work myself. I feel I owe back a lot. Um, so on a personal level, I'm very driven by that. So it's not about proving myself to people, or, the money that we can create and the business. It really is those lovely, good feeling things. I can tell my children that mum's done an amazing job and helped so many people, and that I've supported and raised up lots of people, amazing educators, given people opportunities, connected people. That's nothing to do with my business, network, that is, my God, wow, to be able to say that. I think it's about giving back. Yeah.
So that leads neatly on to what we should probably close on, which is that's yours, which is still very much about everyone else. How would I phrase this? What do you want for everyone in our industry?
Great. Answers, security, confidence, challenge. I want to feel like anybody knows they're doing a great job because they're being supported. I want to raise standards so everybody knows what doing a good job looks and feels like. Of course, we want people to be more active, to all of that, those grand things. I think we're all on that. But from a FitPro and a Teresa perspective, I want the lonely fitness professional who doesn't know where to turn, who's curious, hasn't quite found their calling. I want to be able to give them options. So the word that you and I was thinking of when you said it was about possibilities. I want to be able to present possibilities. And I think we've already done that, and we're really on a great trajectory to be able to do that.
Very cool. Is there anything that, I haven't asked a question around that has allowed you to say all the things that you'd like to say? Is there any message that you feel like you've not been able to, talk on that, I've kind of, I've dropped the ball somewhere in this interview and I've not given you an opportunity to talk about something that you really wanted to talk about? Is there anything that's we've left out?
No, I think one of the things that you and I both agreed on, that we wouldn't plan what was going, it doesn't, just for the people listening, I hope you know that JP and I are very prepared with lots of things and we do lots of prep, but we actually felt this would be much better if it was an organic flow, because those things then they just probably will resonate and impact more. I think I think we've covered everything that I wanted to talk about the legacy, about what Brent and Jane have been able to gift me, the opportunity. And I think, you've given me an opportunity to reflect and talk about the vision and what we're trying to do. I hope it hasn't felt like a sales pitch, but more about a human discussion about what's truly important. I really love the fact that you spoke about being taken seriously and being playful and stuff. I mean, you know me as an individual, how much personal work I've done and how I've had to dig deep through really difficult moments. So there is a real reflective side of me. I think what I want to do is say a massive thank you to you, JP. You have been a great friend. You have been a great supporter. You are my mentor. You do an amazing job, and you have been a sounding board for me over these last few months where I've just wanted to check in on a few things, and I'm incredibly grateful. I have a number of really good friends, and I put you in that little pocket just there. So I want to say thank you to you, because there are, you get me on a level where you know who I am, and we can still have a laugh, and that's really important to me. So I want to give a shout out to you, JP, but I also want to give a shout out to a few people that have actually helped me. So you know me, and I've done some really important therapy over the years. I've done 10 years of amazing therapy that finished about a year ago. So I never ever, and she'll never get to see this, but there was an amazing lady that helped me, Michelle. She'll never get to see this because she's just one of those incredible professional therapists. But I think I just want to put out in the universe that she has made a massive impact to me, and how I've worked on myself. But your friendship has meant the world to me, and yeah, you better keep sending the funny WhatsApp messages and being my sounding board, or else.
I know it's a dangerous game that you play with that sounding board, because sometimes I'm sure you throw out a serious thing and I come back with a very unserious response. So it's a dangerous thing that
No,
you do there.
there's been, and also within FitPro, there's been some amazing people who have really genuinely been advocating for me, and it's a really precious thing. I won't name those people because, again, they won't necessarily hear it and they'd be really embarrassed. But, I think when people have got your back is a really powerful thing. Yeah. So thank you to you,
Yeah.
and thank you to those people. And
Well, thank you for your kind words.
oh, that's my pleasure.
Okay, thank you for being so open and honest. It's been lovely. I feel like it's one of the more unusual interviews with an executive director of a company, because it didn't feel like you were trying to play your cards close to your chest and then go, okay, then what hand do I reveal at this point for the best leverage of my community? You were just talking from the heart, which was really refreshing, and thank you on behalf of everyone listening for doing that. And I look forward to sending you more silly jokes very soon.
I look forward to receiving them. To anyone listening, thank you so much. What an absolute joy to talk about what's coming up. And yeah, thank you, JP.
Pleasure.
Shall we do a cheesy wave to finish?
Ta-ta!
Bye-bye. I've got to remember to press stop recording now. Bye-bye.
Yeah, do that.